I hope everybody is together with me and you have understood that entrance examinations are not like board examinations. In entrance examinations, you can only try to attempt as many marks as possible, right? And you don't know okay, how many attempts are good. वो तो जब result आएगा तभी पता चलता है. So from today onwards, your attempt should be as many questions as I can attempt. 100 में से 70 अटेम्प्ट कर पाए ठीक है, आई ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट 75, आई ट्राई टू अटेम्प्ट 80, बट डोंट डू इट लाइक द स्कूल सिस्टम वेयर 100% अटेम्प्ट करने की कोशिश करेंगे एंड क्वेश्चंस अगर सारे अटेम्प्ट हो गए तो बढ़िया है, नहीं हुए तो लॉस है. नहीं, बिकॉज स्कूल में क्या होता है, इफ यू डोंट नो अ सर्टन क्वेश्चन यू कैन स्टिल ट्राई टू आंसर समथिंग, बिकॉज इवन इफ इट इज रॉन्ग you don't lose any marks. You don't lose any marks. There's no negative marking in most of the school exams. But in entrance examinations, there is the concept of negative marks. What does that mean? If you get it right, तो marks मिलेंगे. लेकिन कुछ exams में wrong answer के minus marks आते हैं और unattempted के 0. So जहाँ पे answer नहीं पता, in an entrance exam you cannot bluff. In fact, you should not bluff. The good strategy would be to leave the question. If you leave the question, it is only 0. But if you attempt it and get it wrong, and if the examination has a negative marking scheme, then you lose out on it, right? You get negative marking. So the ideal strategy to do would be to intelligently attempt only those questions which are going to maximize my marks. Are we together so far? Any questions so far that you would like to ask me? Any questions that you would like to ask me? आई होप यहां तक हम साथ साथ में हैं. ठीक है, ओके. चलो, somebody is asking, is Sanvi here in this group? I think somebody has sent me a message asking what is NS. Yeah, NS stands for my initials. Okay, so let's move ahead then. So how do we, Raghav is asking a very pertinent question. He says that how do we resist in attempting? Raghav, that is exactly why I'm taking this session. So that जितनी बार मैं आपको ये बताता जाऊंगा कि negative marking है, make sure you don't attempt it. Negative marking है, make sure you don't attempt it. It's through practice that you will come across. पहले 2-3 टेस्ट दोगे, उसमें you will see कि you have attempted so many questions, but फिर भी because of wrong answers आपके marks कम आ गए. You attempted 150 out of 150 questions, but got many of them wrong. Another student, he attempted very less number of questions, but क्योंकि negative नहीं गए, his score was actually higher. So then 2-3 बार पहले initial mocks दोगे, and then when you start analyzing the paper, then you start realizing that attempting everything is not necessarily a good strategy. And then by practice, you learn how to control it. Rishikesh is asking how many subjects are there for CLAT? Beta, CLAT, see, for any entrance examination, for any such information कि कितने subjects हैं, हर section का कितना score है, overall कितने marks का paper है, कितने घंटे का paper है, per section कितने questions आते हैं, negative marking का scheme क्या है, you should always go to the official website of the college or the exam and check there. Don't rely on secondary sources, right? कोई ट्यूशन क्लासेस, कोई एंट्रेंस एग्जाम कोचिंग सेंटर लाइक माइन हमारे वेबसाइट पे चलो हो ना हो, बट अपडेटेड इंफॉर्मेशन के लिए यू मस्ट ऑलवेज गो टू द ऑफिशियल वेबसाइट. बट हैविंग सेड दैट, क्लैट टेक्निकली हैज 5 सब्जेक्ट्स: इंग्लिश, मैथ्स, रीजनिंग, जीके एंड लीगल रीजनिंग, लीगल एप्टीट्यूड, राइट? सृजन, mock tests ideally I would like you guys to give after you have done a certain amount of the syllabus, right? So I'll give you basic tests, right, of different subjects together, but full length जो actual pattern वाले mock tests हैं, I would prefer if you take it in February on. Mid February के बाद एक sizable amount of course जब हो गया है, उसके बाद अगर आप करो mock tests, and I'll tell you, I'll start allocating I'll send the mock tests and I'll tell you that now you can start doing it, and that would be the ideal time. I hope that answers your question, Srijan. Yes, are we together on that? Okay. So guys, any other questions that you would like to ask? If not, then I can move ahead with today's session. Right? If maybe I can take more questions at the end of today's session, right? Don't worry. अभी कुछ strike नहीं हो रहा है, लेकिन बीच में कुछ अगर strike हुआ, तो we will take the session. I'll take questions at the end of the session as well. चलो. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to now stop my video. I'm going to put up the PPT on the screen and we are going to take a look at it. Okay, so stop video, share screen, second screen. Okay. So guys, can everybody see the screen now? Can everybody see the presentation on the screen properly? Yes? Excellent. Chalo. So what we are going to take a look at is, IQ Ideas have already given you the name of the teachers who are going to teach you. That is me, Satya, Maths, Chandan sir, and GK mainly, Parth sir, right? I've talked a little bit about entrance examinations as well. Study plan, obviously, at the end of every session, we'll be recommending the homework. I'll be sending the homework also, right, on the same WhatsApp group. So you have to complete whatever exercises are told. The next session of the same teacher subject, we will be taking doubts. In the meantime, if you have any doubts, you can also make use of the Telegram and WhatsApp numbers for that, right? And apart from all this, I want you guys to regularly start reading GK current affairs from online websites like gktoday.in or jagranjosh.com, or even new articles from good newspapers like Indian Express and the Hindu, right? So your study plan, I know it's tough this time because entrance exams and board exams are clashing and you'll be preparing for both simultaneously. But remember, good things come to those who work the hardest, right? And I know that ये बड़ा क्लीशे सा है कि बेटा अभी मेहनत करोगे और अच्छे कॉलेज में जाओगे तो सारी उम्र ऐश करोगे, और अभी अगर मेहनत नहीं की तो सारी उम्र मेहनत करनी पड़ेगी. आई एम श्योर माँ बाप ने ये पट्टी तो पढ़ाई होगी, मेरे को भी बहुत सुनाया था ऐसा. But to some extent, they are right? Because experience does tell us that if you have a good educational background, then life does become fun. It may not be very easy, but it's definitely better than not having a good education. Okay? Chalo. Shrijan is asking, should we study static GK? Absolutely yes. Yes, static GK is a very important portion. I believe you should have received a book of static GK as well, or the soft copy as well. So you do have to study static GK. दिन में एक दो pages जितना भी करोगे, then it becomes very important. Raghav, yes, Raghav, there are 2 channels on which you can send your doubts. One, the WhatsApp number from which you get the Zoom ID password for everyday session, that is 7600666111, on which you have registered your number. उसी पे आप doubts उस number पे भेजो, it's one-on-one. And secondly, the Telegram group, right? In every session, the Telegram group link is also usually sent. You can just join that, right? So either one of the 2 channels are good enough for doubt. Somebody was asking me, and yes, we'll try to record all these sessions and put them online the same evening, right? If barring any technical issues, we will try our best to record all the sessions and put them online, so that even if there are any net connectivity issues, then you should be able to catch up with it. ठीक है? Chalo guys, moving ahead then. I'll take more questions at the end if you have any. Right now, let's begin. So today I'm going to talk about reading comprehension. Now, those of you who have already attended a session of reading comprehension with me, don't think this is a repeat. I'm going to talk about something different in this, something extra in this, right? And those who are doing it for the first time, obviously, you're going to have a very interesting session and learn how it is very important to master this skill, because the first and most important skill for cracking the exam is reading comprehension. Before I proceed, I see somebody is named as Oppo F17 Pro. Guys, please use your original name in that, right? It's a first session. I can let it go. But henceforth, if the name is not proper, then unfortunately, if we can't identify you, we'll have to remove you from the session, right? So please make sure that you are named properly. Okay, guys. So what exactly is reading comprehension all about? It contains 2 parts. Reading, obviously, you know what it is. Comprehension means understanding, right? Now, why is reading comprehension so very important? Well, the thing is, it does not mean that reading comprehension is just one portion of English. A lot of students think कि reading comprehension यानी कि वो passage जिसमें जिसके बेसिस पे 5-10 क्वेश्चन होते हैं, बस उसको पढ़ के आंसर करना है. रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन सिर्फ उतना होता है एग्जाम में. नहीं, रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इज द एंटायर क्वेश्चन पेपर, राइट? सरप्राइज? Well, think about it logically. The entire paper you are reading, you are trying to understand. Only if you understand the questions properly, you'll be able to answer them properly, right? So, whether it is an English question or a reasoning question or a GK or even maths, right? Any subject, ultimately you have to read the question, you have to comprehend it, understand it, and only then you will be able to answer it properly. So, reading comprehension becomes a very important skill to crack the entire entrance exam. And not just for exams. After cracking the exams, when you go to college, right, and it could be any stream, it could be management, hotel management, mass comm, liberal studies, business studies, media studies, law, anything. Most of these courses have a lot of reading to be done. And unless you can read quickly and understand what is written properly, you will always be behind the class. So, reading comprehension becomes a very, very important skill, not just to crack the entrance examination, but to also do good in the entire college life. So, reading comprehension is, of course, the main part of any verbal section, English section. And there are many entrance examinations जहाँ पे the entire section of English is only reading comprehension, right? For example, CLAT 2020, the entire English section was purely based upon reading comprehension, or RC. The short form we use is RC, reading comprehension. So it is one of the most important and almost a guaranteed type of question in every exam. And size of the passage कुछ भी हो सकता है. It could be a 300 word का छोटू सा passage which you can read in less than 2 minutes flat. It could be a long 1,000+ words passage which may take up to, let us say, 4 to 7 minutes depending on how fast you read. So there is no fixed size. छोटा passage भी हो सकता है, बड़ा passage भी हो सकता है. But what is common? You have to read the passage. You have to answer the questions that follow. Now, obviously, many of us would have done reading comprehension at school level also. Many of us would have done reading comprehension at school level. But school level पे जो reading comprehension होता है, those are very simple passages where you can directly pick the options answer from the passage. Entrance exam में the reading comprehension section is slightly tricky, right? Because the questions are multiple choice question based. So the trick is, how do we select the correct option in that particular example? So two things. Not only do you need a good reading speed, but after reading, you need the ability to infer the content correctly. It's not just enough that you read it, but you have to understand it and you have to derive the correct answer based on what is given in the passage, right? Now, what is a good reading speed? You can test your reading speed. There are many online websites or software which let you test your reading speed for free. Now, a poor reader, an average reader, will have a very poor reading speed of about 100 to 120 words per minute. An average high school student who has some amount of reading practice should be able to get 200 to 280 words per minute. For entrance examination, if you can clock more than 350 words per minute, then that is considered to be average and decent. And of course, for people like me who have been reading for over 30 years now, right? More, almost double your age. I've been reading for so many years and I read hundreds of books every year. For people like me, because of this habit, I almost can clock up to 1,800 words per minute. That is almost 6 times the required speed, right? So you can understand, जो चीज आपको 10 मिनट लगाती है, वो चीज मैं लगभग 1.5-2 मिनट में पढ़ सकता हूं. So you can imagine the amount of time that I can save. You guys can also do it, and there is no trick to it. It only requires a lot of practice. रोज minimum 45 minutes to 1 hour अगर reading practice करोगे, your speed will automatically start going up. And we have about 4-5 months left. In 4-5 months, you can definitely up your speed, right? And of course, you keep on this practice. In a few years' time, you can also touch 4 digits. But for the next 4 months, if you keep practicing reading regularly, you will definitely reach a level where you are better than the other competitors in the entrance exam. So, reading comprehension में the data is given in the passage. जो answer है वो passage के अंदर ही है. But जो ऑप्शंस दिए हैं क्वेश्चन के बाद, दे विल नॉट बी वर्ड टू वर्ड द सेम, बिकॉज वो तो स्कूल का बच्चा भी कर लेगा, राइट? प्राइमरी स्कूल में थोड़ी है कि वी नीड टू हैव द वर्ड टू वर्ड आंसर, नो. So whatever option is the actual answer may not be verbatim from the passage. It's quite possible that you will need to twist what is given in the options to fit with what is given in the passage. So it can have a change in language called semantics. Instead of using the same word, they might use synonyms, they might use some phrases. So here a good command over vocabulary is also important, which brings me to the second thing, right? Reading का improvement होने के लिए vocabulary का अच्छा होना जरूरी है. Because if you're reading something and आपको एक particular word समझ में नहीं आया, then your speed automatically hits a bump, right? अनजानी चीज को पढ़ते हो, automatically break लग जाता है because दिमाग उसको process नहीं कर पा रहा है. What is the meaning of this word? But the more words you know, the better vocabulary you have, automatically you start getting good at it. So you need to improve vocabulary, and for that we have provided books of vocabulary, we have provided books of idioms and phrases. Word Power Made Easy by Norman Lewis is also reference material, right? You can start going through them and enrich your vocabulary. But at the end of the day, it is all about how much you practice. Right? Now, the question is कि सर रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन के कौन से टॉपिक्स के पैसेज आते हैं, कौन से सब्जेक्ट में से? इज इट नेसेसरी दैट इफ आई एम रीडिंग फ्रॉम लॉ, if I'm reading of law, then I'll have only passages of law? Or is it necessary that if I am reading law, is it for law? If I'm reading for mass communication, तो मेरे को mass communication के passages मिलेंगे. या if I'm doing for hotel management, is it related to hotel management? The answer is no. You will get topics from any subject. It could be based on science, it could be based on history, philosophy, geography, economics, including fiction, it could be mythology, it could be anything, right? You cannot say that I am not a science student, तो मुझे science का passage क्यों मिलेगा? या I am not an arts and humanities student, मुझे psychology का passage क्यों पढ़ना पड़ेगा? I'm not a commerce student, मुझे business या economics related passage क्यों पढ़ना पड़ेगा? No, because once you enter into a professional college course, you will need to understand basics of various streams, right? You will come across subjects which have not been taught to you at a basic level. So you need to develop good reading habits. That means newspaper के अलग-अलग sections को पढ़ने की आदत डालो, right? Start reading magazines, start reading fiction and non-fiction from different genres, right? अलग अलग चीजों को पढ़ने की आदत डालोगे तो you will get habituated to different styles of writing, and based on that you will be able to understand different types of passage which come in the exam. So what are some typical type of questions which are asked in the exam? So there are basically 5 type of questions, right? Mota the types of questions based on a passage would be either a main idea, a specific detail, purpose of the author, inference of something, or a vocabulary based questions. I'm going to take a little bit of theory on this, but mainly I'm going to take examples of each of this to help us understand, right? Main idea का मतलब क्या होता है? पूरे कहानी का summary क्या है? In overall, what is the author trying to convey? So the easiest way to do it is to look at specific words in the passage which are going to help you identify that this is what the passage is all about, right? So for example, if you read words like king, queen, royalty, subject, kingdom, what exactly do you think the passage is about? It is something about royalty, right? It is something about royal things. Or if you talk about soldiers, blood, guns, swords, muskets, tanks, death, violence, then obviously something about battles or wars is being done, right? So, Shaurya, excellent question. Shaurya asks, to solve reading comprehension, should we first read the question and passage, or let me come to that, Shaurya. It's an excellent question. Give me some time. When summarizing these strategies, I'm going to talk about that, right? But the short answer is पहले क्वेश्चन. I'll tell you why. Okay, chalo, let me answer this question. Now, should we read the passage first and then the questions? Or should I read the questions first and then the passage? I'm going to answer this from strategy point of view. अगर मैं पहले पैसेज पढ़ रहा हूं तो मैं पैसेज तो पढ़ रहा हूं बट मुझे यह नहीं पता कि पैसेज के अंदर मुझे करना क्या है. Am I searching for a specific word? Am I trying to understand overall mood of the author? Am I trying to understand what is the summary of the passage? I don't know. But if I read the questions first, not the options, आंसर ऑप्शंस नहीं, बट सिर्फ क्वेश्चन को अगर मैं ब्रीफ में पढ़ लूं तो आई गेट अ फेयर आइडिया ऑफ व्हाट एग्जैक्टली आई एम लुकिंग फॉर इन द पैसेज. एंड देन व्हेन आई रीड द पैसेज, हाफ वे थ्रू द पैसेज ऑल्सो कई सारे क्वेश्चन के आंसर मुझे ऐसे ही मिल जाएंगे. सो आई होप शौर्या यू अंडरस्टैंड. Strategically speaking, it makes sense to first read the questions so that you are mentally ready how to answer, how to read the passage so that you can answer it, right? So, main idea questions में मैं आपको बताऊंगा where are the tricks, कहां आप trap में fall कर सकते हो, which will be the problem point. Sometimes in a passage, a particular part of the passage will take you down the wrong path. पैसेज के अंदर कहीं पे एक इनवर्स कॉन्सेप्ट को डिस्कस किया गया है. द एंटायर पैसेज इज टॉकिंग अबाउट वन पर्टिकुलर थिंग, बट सम पार्ट ऑफ द पैसेज माइट बी टॉकिंग अबाउट समथिंग अदर देन और समथिंग इवन ऑपोजिट टू द मेन आइडिया. हाउ डू वी नो दैट द आइडिया हैज चेंज्ड इन द पैसेज? सो ऑब्वियसली वर्ड्स लाइक बट, येट, ऑल्दो, सिंस, एक्सेप्ट, मोरओवर, अनलेस, नॉनदलेस, हाउएवर, ये सारे वर्ड्स जो हैं they are clear indicators that whatever follows them is something which is deviating from the passage. Now guys, you don't have to write any of these things down. ये सारा आपके reading comprehension के textbook में दिया हुआ है, right? You don't have to write anything down for now. Pay attention. So when these words are used in the passage, it obviously indicates that there is a shift in the idea. So learn how to spot the wrong answers. Sometimes the options may be based on a line containing these words. And ये सारे तो main idea से हटके हैं. तो कोई option अगर इन sentences पे dependent है, they may be a wrong answer. So that is one way of identifying that this option may be given purposely to deviate us from what is the actual answer. Right? So, wrong answers के लिए कैसे कैसे कंस्ट्रक्शंस हो सकते हैं? ईदर द आंसर इज टू ब्रॉड. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, दे आस्क्ड दैट व्हाट इज द नेचर ऑफ गांधी जी. श्रीजन, okay, Shrijan is asking, wouldn't it be time consuming to analyze every single option? Shrijan, in topics like mathematics, analytical reasoning, and to a large extent even GK, there is only one correct answer. So if you know that the first option is correct, then you can mark it, not even read the other options and go to the next question. However, in topics like English, verbal reasoning, legal aptitude for law students, it is possible that more than one answer is correct and you cannot mark multiple options. तो आपको पहला आंसर सही लगा, आपने मार्क कर दिया, but it is possible that there is a better answer after it. Right? One of the other options is actually better than what you marked, and that was taken by the examiner as the right answer. So then you cannot say कि ये answer तो सही था. नहीं, the other answer was better and that was supposed to be marked. So in English, in verbal reasoning or critical reasoning, in legal aptitude, you cannot take the risk of not checking every answer. Now Shrijan, obviously it is going to be time consuming, and that's why with a lot of practice, you will be able to quickly go through them. रीडिंग कॉम्प्रिहेंशन इज नॉट गोइंग टू बी क्विक, राइट? कुछ सेकेंड्स में क्रैक होने वाला सेक्शन नहीं है ये, लेकिन with enough practice, with enough reading speed, you will be able to mark the right answers. And that's why, strategically speaking, I also tell the students that if you are allowed to answer any section in any order, try to keep reading comprehension towards the end. Reading comprehension के questions beginning of the paper में answer करोगे, बहुत सारा time जाएगा. Instead, answer those questions which are very easy and quick, like mathematics or analytical reasoning or GK, जिसमें टक टक आप quickly answer mark कर सकते हो. And then move on to things like reading comprehension at the end. Because अगर छूट गया, तो भी आप ज्यादा मार्क्स लूज नहीं करोगे, राइट? बट सृजन, yes, you cannot take the risk of not reading all the options. You will have to check all of them because that's exactly how question paper setters put traps in the question. पहला आंसर बहुत बढ़िया लगेगा, बाकी ऑप्शंस देखोगे ही नहीं, फर्स्ट को मार्क करोगे एंड देन इट टर्न्स आउट दैट करेक्ट आंसर तो पीछे वाला था जो हमने देखा ही नहीं. So whether you like it or not, never ever make the mistake of not reading all the options. Analysis फटाफट हो जाएगा, practice करोगे, your mind will analyze it as quickly as you can read it. But yes, you have to analyze every option. Did you get that, Srijan? Others also? Did you understand? Chalo. So wrong answers में options. Now Srijan, understand. That is why I'm telling you how to analyze the questions. ये सारे ट्रिक्स मैं आपको बता रहा हूं, तो एनालिसिस एक झटके में आप कर पाओगे. कोई भी आंसर जरूरत से ज्यादा बड़ा अगर है, इन द सेंस जो पूछा गया है उससे ज्यादा अगर डिटेल आंसर में है, then it may not be the right answer. For example, if they ask who was Mahatma Gandhi married to, and one of the options says Mahatma Gandhi was married to Kasturba and he had 4 sons and he had 3 grandsons and he was born in Porbandar. जरूरत से ज्यादा ऑप्शंस हैं, दिस मे नॉट बी द राइट आंसर. यू रिक्वायर अ वेरी प्रिसाइज आंसर. सो कोई ऑप्शन जरूरत से ज्यादा डेटा अगर दे रहा है, जितना पूछा गया है उससे ज्यादा इंफॉर्मेशन दे रहा है, ऑटोमेटिकली यू कैन कैंसल दैट. एंड द ऑपोजिट, जितना पूछा गया है वो सारे डिटेल्स अगर उस आंसर में नहीं मिल रहे, इफ दे आस्क हु आर ऑल द फैमिली मेंबर्स ऑफ महात्मा गांधी, और एक ऑप्शन है महात्मा गांधी वाइफ वॉज कस्तूरबा, दैट्स इट. So this is not enough because we know maybe passage tells also about his children. So then any option जो जरूरत से ज्यादा है या जरूरत से कम है, सबसे पहले तो उनको wrong option करके उड़ा दो. Second, कुछ पूछा गया है और जवाब कोई और तरफ ही जा रहा है, that is it is irrelevant. For example, they ask, is India an economic superpower? And एक ऑप्शन है इंडिया हैज अ लॉट ऑफ न्यूक्लियर वेपन्स विथ इट. पूछा क्या गया है? इकोनॉमिक्स के बारे में. जवाब क्या दे रहे हैं? वेपनरी के बारे में, डिफेंस के बारे में. कोई रेलेवेंसी नहीं है. सो समथिंग विच डज नॉट आंसर द क्वेश्चन एट ऑल इज ऑल्सो अ रॉन्ग आंसर. या पैसेज से टोटली अलग कोई दे रहा है, पैसेज में कुछ और फैक्ट है, ऑप्शन कोई और ही फैक्ट बता रहा है, ऑब्वियसली इट इज रॉन्ग. दे आस्क इन विच डिस्ट्रिक्ट वॉज महात्मा गांधी बॉर्न, पैसेज कहता है पोरबंदर और ऑप्शन में लिखा है कोचरब, तो ऑब्वियसली रॉन्ग डेटा, तो कभी भी सही आंसर नहीं हो सकता. या इलॉजिकल है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, द एंटायर पैसेज टॉक्स अबाउट हाउ गांधी जी बिलीव्ड इन नॉन वायलेंस एंड लेड द सत्याग्रह मूवमेंट इन इंडिया, एंड दे आस्क द क्वेश्चन इज व्हाट वाज गांधीज नेचर, एंड वन ऑफ द ऑप्शन सेज गांधी जी वॉज अ वेरी स्ट्रॉन्ग पर्सन हु बिलीव्ड इन फिजिकल थिंग्स. But it is totally illogical because non-violence, सत्याग्रह की बात हो रही है, तो physical and strength की बात कहां से आई ऑप्शन में, right? Illogical. So these things can also help you eliminate them. So did you understand how we eliminate certain options? Are we together so far? यहां तक समझ में आया? हैं जी? Guys, are we together so far? यहां तक समझ में आ रहा है? Okay, चलो. Let's take a छोटा passage to understand main idea question कैसा होगा. Let's read this passage. It says, in criminal cases, the availability of readable fingerprints is often critical in establishing evidence of a major crime. It is necessary, therefore, to follow proper procedures when taking fingerprints. In major cases, prints should be obtained from all persons who may have touched areas associated with a crime scene for elimination purposes. यहां तक समझ, डिड यू अंडरस्टैंड व्हाट दिस पैसेज सेज? एनी पार्ट, एनी वर्ड, एनी लाइन यू डिड नॉट अंडरस्टैंड, यू कैन आस्क. जनरल पैसेज क्या बोल रहा है, समझ में आ रहा है? वेरी गुड. So now, remembering, keep the overall idea of the passage in your mind and answer this. What is the main idea of the passage? The main idea of the paragraph is what? I'm getting different options from people. I'm getting different options from people. So यहां पे देखो ऑप्शंस अलग अलग हैं, राइट? कहीं ना कहीं ये सारे ऑप्शंस अपने को पैसेज में मिल रहे हैं, तो फिर बेस्ट पॉसिबल आंसर क्या हो सकता है? फॉर दिस आई एम गोइंग टू गो बैक टू द पैसेज, राइट? पैसेज के मेन आइडियाज क्या हैं? वन, इट सेज दैट फॉर क्रिमिनल केसेस fingerprints are important. That is one idea. Second idea is because fingerprints are important, you should properly take them. And the third idea is you should take fingerprints from everybody so that you can eliminate those who are usually there. For example, मेरे घर में अगर कोई चोर आता है तो मेरे घर के सारे घर वालों का भी फिंगरप्रिंट्स लेना पड़ेगा, ताकि सारे सामान में से हमारे घर वालों के फिंगरप्रिंट्स को आप एलिमिनेट करो, तो जो बाहर वाले का फिंगरप्रिंट है वो आइडेंटिफाई कर पाओगे, क्योंकि मेरे घर में मेरे ऑब्जेक्ट्स पे मेरे फिंगरप्रिंट्स तो होने ही वाले। सो फिंगरप्रिंट्स आर इंपॉर्टेंट, फॉलो प्रॉपर प्रोसीजर्स, एलिमिनेट दोज हु आर सपोज टू बी देयर। ये तीन आइडियाज समझ में आए? दैट दीज थ्री आइडियाज आर देयर। So, which option takes care of that? The first one says fingerprints are important and it is important to follow the correct course. Why is it important and why and we should follow correct course? All three ideas are taken care of here, right? So A potentially answer हो सकता है, there is no problem in this. लेकिन बाकी options को भी देखना पड़ेगा, तो B को देखते हैं। B says all fingerprints found at the crime scene should be taken and investigated. ठीक है? But does option B give you the idea that fingerprints are very important for criminal cases? Does option B give you the idea that fingerprints are very important for criminal cases? No, वो सिर्फ इतना कहता है कि सारे fingerprints को लो और investigate करो. It does not tell me that they're important. So I eliminate B. B is not my answer. Third, C. If the incorrect procedure is followed in gathering fingerprints, the ones taken may be useless. ठीक है? प्रोसीजर को फॉलो करना जरूरी है, वो तो ये डेफिनेटली बोल रहा है, लेकिन it again does not say that fingerprints are important for criminal cases. उस मेन पॉइंट को तो ये फॉलो कर ही नहीं रहा है. And the same problem is with D. The first step in investigating fingerprints is to eliminate those of non-suspects. They are focusing only on a narrow aspect of the passage कि procedure सही होना चाहिए या वो help करते हैं. But the main idea is that fingerprints are important in criminal cases. They should be properly taken because they have a specific use. And the only option which takes care of all these 3 points is A. So although B, C and D are not wrong, they are not the main idea of the passage. The main idea is not about the procedure. The main idea is not about how they are useful. The main idea is that they are useful, right? It only tells at the end of the passage कि वो useful कैसे हैं. But the main idea is to tell us that fingerprints are useful. And that only option A gives us. So the main idea of the passage definitely has to be option A. Is everybody with me on this? कहीं किसी को लगता है कि समझ में नहीं आया तो बिल्कुल पूछ सकते हो, राइट? डोंट फील शाई. इफ यू डोंट गेट इट, डोंट हेजिटेट, इमीडिएटली आस्क. सो इफ देयर इज नो डाउट, आई विल मूव अहेड फॉर नेक्स्ट टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस व्हिच कैन कम. ठीक है, चलो. नाउ स्पेसिफिक डिटेल क्वेश्चन, दीज आर दो स्टैंडर्ड टाइप ऑफ क्वेश्चंस जो स्कूल में पूछते थे. लंबा पैसेज दिया जाएगा, उसमें से पूछ एक स्पेसिफिक वर्ड या स्पेसिफिक सेंटेंस या एक स्पेसिफिक डेट के बारे में कुछ होगा, तो वो उठा के हु वाज द फादर, पैसेज विल बी अबाउट गांधी जी, क्वेश्चन विल बी अबाउट हु वाज कॉल्ड द फादर ऑफ द नेशन. सो दैट इज अ स्पेसिफिक डिटेल. पैसेज में आपको यू हैव टू लुक फॉर अ लाइन वेयर इट इज सेड दैट गांधी जी वाज द फादर ऑफ द नेशन, राइट? सो in specific detail questions, you just have to identify what word from the question will help you identify the answer from the passage. So if the question is straightforward about a fact or example from the text, तो एक पर्टिकुलर वर्ड को आप मोटा मोटा ढूंढो. फादर ऑफ द नेशन अगर पूछा है तो पैसेज में फादर वर्ड कहां पे दिया है, राइट? या तो गांधी जी के बाप के बारे में होगा या गांधी जी को फादर ऑफ द नेशन कहते होगा. So even if you don't read the complete sentence, you just try to find out the word father in the passage, more or less you will be able to identify the answer, right? So specific detail question में sometimes it may not be necessary to read the whole passage. Just ऊपर से नजर घुमाओ and try to identify the word and you may get the answer. But still, even when you are घुमाओफाइंग and you identify the word somewhere in the beginning, make sure that you go till the end of the passage. Same. Never ever do adha adhura काम in reading comprehension, right? So make sure that you read the entire passage so that you are sure that whatever answer you found out is actually the exact answer. And understanding the main idea of the passage is also critical to choosing the correct answer for specific detail questions. I'm going to give example, right? But before that, strategies. So यहाँ पे vocabulary is very important. For example, they say, was Gandhi a pacifist? Right? पूरे passage में आप ढूंढते हो pacifist word है ही नहीं. But what does the word pacifist mean? If you are good at vocabulary, you will understand the meaning of the word pacifist. What is the meaning of the word pacifist? Pacifist means a person who believes in peace, right? So if the passage is about a person who believes in non-violence and other things, then obviously, yes, he's a pacifist, right? So that is the key word. So some questions will ask you to identify specific words. Some questions will simply ask you to identify a statement that is true or accurate from the options, right? So even for specific detailed questions, sometimes you may be required to read the entire passage so that you are able to eliminate the wrongly given options and select the correct one. Chalo, I'm going to put up this passage on screen. Thoda lamba hai. I'll give you about a minute to read it. Read it and then we will take a look at specific detailed question from this passage. Are we done, guys, reading this? Good. Hriday is done. Very good. Okay, I'll just wait for a few more seconds and then we'll take a look at the question. Very interesting passage, right? अपने पुराने ज़माने की चीज़ें थी. Eastern philosophy, Eastern medicine, Eastern customs. The Westerners used to think that सारा टोटका है, सारा illogical है, and it's surprising how a lot of them have started adopting all that now. Anyway, so if you have read the passage, according to the passage, which practice would not be defined as alternate medicine? The passage is about alternate medicine. 3 of them are defined as alternate medicine. Which one is not? So here I'm going to take you back to the passage, because ऐसे question को answer करने के लिए you need the passage, right? So, guys, last passage gives you the answer, right? It talks about both acupuncture and pain management. But the word acupuncture is used as a remedy, as an alternative medicine for pain management. Pain management itself is not described as a therapy, as a medicine. They are not saying pain management is the medicine. They are saying acupuncture is the medicine which is used for pain management, right? So acupuncture, yes, is alternative. Garlic supplement, beginning of the passage में ही described है. And massage therapy is also a type of therapy, right? Because second passage, complementary जो marked है, उसके बाद देखो, homeopathy, massage therapy, yoga, acupuncture, ये सारे words are given as alternate medicine. But pain management itself is not. So if you had just identified these words and taken a little bit of care, very easily you will be able to identify that. And here trick क्या है? The word not. जल्दबाजी में if you read it as which practice is alternate medicine, तो आप गार्लिक वाले को मार्क करके आ जाओगे कि पूरा पैसेज इज अबाउट गार्लिक सप्लीमेंट, सो इट इज पेन, इट इज ऑल्टरनेटिव मेडिसिन. बट द ट्रिक इज द क्वेश्चन आस्क्स विच प्रैक्टिस वुड नॉट be defined as alternate medicine. So it is very important that you pay attention to that one particular word. Are we together on this, guys? Did we get that? Right? If you read the passage, and these passages are in your book, you can go back and refer to them, right? तो specific question is very easy. आपको सिर्फ identify करना है, लेकिन पूरा passage एक बार पढ़ना important है. चलो. Now, the third type of question is the author's purpose. Why has the author written this passage? What was the purpose of the author behind saying all this? Author करना क्या चाहता है? Author कहना क्या चाहता है? So again, there will be specific words which you can find in the passage which will give you an idea of what they are trying to do, right? It could be easy, it could be difficult, and there could be different reasons why an author could have written the passage, right? So now let us take a look at some of the different reasons why an author would write a particular thing, and how do we identify these particular words to identify the author's purpose. Chalo. Sometimes the author might wish to show you similarities between two concepts. He might be trying to compare the French Revolution with the American Revolution. He might be trying to compare petrol cars with diesel cars. Like in the previous passage also, they were trying to compare different types of alternate medicines. So comparison जहाँ पे होगा, वहाँ पे obviously words like both, similarly, in the same way, like, just as. जैसे poetry में शायद you must have learnt about simile and metaphor, right? So when a lot of simile and metaphors are used, then the purpose of the author is to compare two ideas. The opposite of comparing is contrasting, showing the differences, right? So words like however, but, dissimilarly, on the other hand, if such words are identified as being used in the passage, and बहुत सारे जगहों पे ये सारे words आपको दिखते हैं, then the sense that you should get is that the author is trying to contrast or show the difference, the dissimilarity between two ideas. Sometimes the purpose of the author is to show something in a bad light. And in fact, आजकल बहुत सारे न्यूज़ चैनल्स पे जब हम लोगों को चिल्लाते हुए देखते हैं, the way they talk about certain things and certain people, we automatically know that they are criticizing the idea, right? So when the author wants to give a negative opinion, then you may get a lot of judgmental words. Bad, wasteful, poor, or any adverb, any adjective which shows something in poor light, in negative light, when the author is repeatedly using negative words to describe something, then more often than not, the sense that we should get is that the author is trying to criticize someone. The author may be trying to describe, right? If you are talking about the qualities about something, the characteristics of something, right? He wants to paint a mental picture in your mind. जैसे कई बार we come across some written texts by people where even when you read what they have written, in your mind automatically you're able to imagine what is happening. Some writers write so beautifully that just the words they have used to describe is enough to give you a mental idea of what it would look like. So यहाँ पे बहुत सारे descriptive adjectives, adverbs अगर हों, right, which describe the quality of an object, which describe the quality of an activity, then such describing words should give you the sense that here the author is trying to describe or illustrate something. Now, when a person wants to explain, right, and this is classically the type of language which is used in textbooks. When the author wants to break down the idea into simpler terms, then look for words which convert complicated processes into simple language. It will be very descriptive, right? It will be an explanatory text of a complicated idea. For example, school textbook में the first time you read the word photosynthesis, कुछ समझ में नहीं आया होगा. But then it explains photo means light, synthesis means creation. So पूरा process जब समझाते हैं कि photosynthesis क्या होता है, at the end of the passage you realize, oh अच्छा इसको photosynthesis कहते हैं, right? So whenever a complex idea is described using simple words, what is the purpose of the author? The author is trying to explain things. जब an author wants to tell you about a series of ideas, a list of things, then it simply talks about things without much description. For example, top 20 gadgets for 2020, right? BuzzFeed या Scoop Whoop कोई वेबसाइट पे ऐसे आर्टिकल्स आते हैं, top 20 gadgets for 2020. तो वहां पे ज्यादा डिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं होगा, लेकिन आपको लिस्ट मिलेगा, right? Popularly also known as listicles, या 10 most popular actresses in 2021, या 15 most preferred tourist destinations in India. So these are when the author is only trying to give you a list of items belonging to a category. Then sometimes the author is trying to intensify a detail or an emotion. एक basic idea को बढ़ा चढ़ा के बताने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं. So there, when look for superlative adjectives, right? Big, bigger, biggest, good, better, best, bad, worse, worst. तो best, worst, biggest, these are superlatives, right? एक छोटी चीज को बढ़ा चढ़ा के जब कहते हैं, and it's also called hyperbole or hyperbole in poetry, right? आप कहोगे I have a lot of responsibilities, लेकिन इसको बढ़ा चढ़ा के ऑथर क्या कहेगा, सारी दुनिया का बोझ वो उठाता है. Obviously you don't lift the load of the entire world, but they are exaggerating the idea to give you a sense of how much intense it is, right? वो इतना रो रहा था कि पूरा समंदर उसके आंसुओं से भर गया. Obviously nobody can cry enough to fill even a small bowl, but to intensify that he was crying too much, the author might write he was crying so badly that it had filled the entire ocean. So when an extreme description like that is given, it means the author is trying to intensify what he's saying. When the author wants to suggest something, propose an idea, he wants people to believe or accept what he's trying to say, then look for positive opinions in it. Supposing I want to say that my institute is the best institute, you should all join, right? तो एक बाहर वाले को मैं बोलूँगा, oh, we have got excellent results, we have got highly trained faculty members, we have got excellent facilities, right? So when I'm trying to give only positive opinions about something, then that means I'm trying to suggest that this is a good thing for you. I'm trying to propose the idea, and I'm also trying to suggest that this is good for you. And that is normally what is done by sales and marketing people. If you go to a shop, you go to a seller, that person is never ever going to tell you something extremely negative about his product or service, which will lead you to not purchase. छोटी मोटी चीजें शायद बता देगा, बट कोई मेजर खराब चीज वो नहीं ही बताएगा, बिकॉज बताएगा तो आप खरीदोगे नहीं. So when the author is trying too hard to give positive ideas about something, then the emotion that we are looking for is suggestion. So let's take this passage. I'll give you about a minute, read it, and then try to identify what sense are you getting from this passage. What is the author trying to do in this passage? Are you sure, Sakshi? Varnika? Okay. Don't worry, wait for the question also. I'll give you the question. From that will give you better, the options will be a better way of looking at it. Once I present the options to you, you will get a better idea of what we are looking at. Okay guys, मोटा मोटा आइडिया मिल गया होगा, एंड यू नो दैट यू आर लुकिंग एट द टोन ऑफ द ऑथर्स आइडिया, राइट? चलो ऑप्शंस देखते हैं. द ऑथर्स डिस्क्रिप्शन ऑफ द टेम्परेचर. द ऑथर इज डिस्क्राइबिंग द टेम्परेचर. व्हाई इज ही डूइंग सो? I think now you will get it. Yes, Raghav, Shrijan, very good. No, Mana, Jia got it. Interesting. Now that the options are there, now easily most of you are getting the right answer. I'm so happy with that. Excellent. Most of you have got it right. Right? So, like couple of people, even before, they said they are trying to intensify the emotion. They are trying to describe with a little bit of exaggeration. Now, why would an author intensify or exaggerate? You're not wrong. You're not wrong, right? But the reason why an author would intensify or exaggerate something is because he wants the reader to also experience it, right? If he presents something like facts, he just wants to inform the reader. But जब हम बढ़ा चढ़ा के कुछ कहते हैं, the reason behind that is we want the other person to also experience it. So obviously, when they say that it is 12 degrees below zero, that is information. But then he says the wind freshened it was most biting, right? So it explains that not only was it cold as per facts, but the effect is being described so that it intensifies the setting and the reader experiences the boatman's difficult journey. It is not to explain that the boatmen were about to be going through hardships. It is definitely not comparing a difference between boatmen who have experienced and who have not. And definitely it's not about the cause of the temperature. The reason why he describes that minus 12 degrees is biting, chilling and other things is so that when you read it, you also get that feeling, oh, kitna kharab mausam hai. Right? So everybody got the answer. The purpose of the author was to give the experience to the reader. Very good. Most of you got it right. Excellent. Chalo. Now, one of the most popular type of questions which are asked in the exams are inference based questions. And in fact, there are so many questions that not only reading comprehension, but also in the reasoning, verbal or critical reasoning section, you have questions which are inference based. So much so that I'm going to take multiple sessions of purely inference based questions. So inference based questions hote kya hai? Inference means something which is not directly told in the passage. It is not openly written कि passage में पढ़ के आप directly mark कर दो. No. You have to draw conclusions from what is given in the passage. The passage will not have that thing directly in it. You will have to read it from the passage, read between the lines is what it means, right? You must understand the logic of the author, what the author is trying to say, and then try to deduce that if the author's mentality is like this, then will this other thing also fit into what the author may think is right? फॉर एग्जाम्पल गांधी जी के बारे में अगर पूरा डिटेल में दिया गया है एंड देन दे मे आस्क विल गांधी जी हैव सपोर्टेड द एक्शंस व्हिच हैपेंड इन वॉशिंगटन डीसी लास्ट वीक. Obviously, Washington DC wale events are not part of the passage. But if you understand that the passage describes Gandhi ji as a peace-loving person, then you will be easily able to conclude that Gandhi ji would not have supported the violence which happened in Washington DC last week. Right? So here it is all about understanding the logic of what the author is trying to prove. So inference questions are not only about reading, but also analyzing, also about thinking. And these are the typical questions which actually will consume more time than any other type of questions. Good or bad, such questions have become very common in entrance examinations. More and more exam paper setters are now giving more focus to such questions because they want students who are critical thinkers. Good news, with a little bit of practice, it is very easy to crack these questions. Chalo, passage and then inference based questions देखेंगे. But first, just the passage. Did we read it? Yes, guys. Did we read it? Very technical passage, right? Very technical passage. For those who are interested in astronomy and things like that, it would make a lot of sense. Chalo. Let's take a look at the questions. Which of the following can be inferred from the passage? The passage has given you a lot of technical details. But if the technical details are correct, if they are facts, then which of these for three things can you conclude from whatever details are given? Okay, so if you have gone through the three options, the first one is talking about exoplanets having the same core temperature if the size is same. Second, that all observable stars are heated over certain degrees. And third, the mass of the planet affects the temperature. Let's go back to the passage. The initial part, Jupiter is 2.5 times more mass, 11 times, so large, blah, 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 right? It first describes the huge mass that Jupiter has. Middle of the passage, it says that there was not enough, it says it is very large, it almost is a star, but it does not have enough mass to create the temperature needed to start the fusion reaction. So obviously, what they're saying is that there is a relationship between mass and temperature. Because Jupiter's mass is large, but not large enough, that's why its core temperature is not what it could have been to make it a star. So obviously, C is the best inference for the passage. It's not about that exoplanets के कितने टेम्परेचर होंगे या observable galaxies में कितना हीट होगा. The main thing is that mass affects temperature, right? That is the general theme that is inferred from the passage, and hence C has to be the correct answer. Did everybody understand this one? Why C has to be the correct answer? Excellent. Chalo. Now, the easiest, the quickest, and yet sometimes the trickiest type of question are vocabulary based questions, where simply they might ask you what is the synonym of this particular word in the passage, what is the antonym of this word in the passage, right? So to give the synonym or antonym of that word, you have to identify how has that word been used in the passage, because this is English, and in English the same word can have multiple meanings based on how it is used. For example, the word spring, S-P-R-I-G, spring. Now, without context, you cannot tell me what is the exact meaning of the word spring. Because if I say that in India, spring usually comes in March, that means I'm using the word spring to indicate a season. But I can also say this ballpoint pen's spring is broken, which means now I'm using the word spring to indicate the mechanical device, the coils. I could say, in winter, my mother uses spring onions to cook. That here the word spring is different. Or I can say, the water was bubbling merrily along the spring. Right? Jharne ko bhi spring bolte hain. So, you cannot simply look at the word and just mark the synonym or antonym as asked. You will have to identify in what context has the word been used in the passage, right? Even if you know the meaning of the word, don't make the mistake of not reading the passage, because ho sakta hai that they have used a different meaning of that word in the passage. For example, the word mummy. The word mummy. Now, if I'm using it in the Indian context, my mother is a mummy for me. But if I'm using it in ancient Egyptian context, तो ancient Egypt में mummy वो रिमेंबर दैट बैंडेज में लिपटा हुआ जो टाइप्स होता है, राइट? सो कंटेक्चुअली इट मैटर्स. सो ऑल्दो वोकैबुलरी बेस्ड क्वेश्चंस आर वेरी इजी, they can easily fool you into marking the wrong option by using a slightly different use in the passage. So make sure you understand the context in which it is used and then mark the right answer. So take a look at this. They have asked the meaning of the word inundate. If you know the meaning of the word inundate, even without reading the passage, you may mark the answer. But it is still better to read the passage to find out what it should be. So, if you know the meaning of the word inundate, the regular meaning of the word, you can mark it. But still, passage में क्या दिया गया है? So, After the first day on the job, the bank's new manager realized he would be busier than he had been led to believe. Not only was he assisting the bank tellers with their work, but his new boss had decided to inundate him with other tasks like creating security system, managing the bank deposit and refund, securing loan, maintaining blah blah. So the moment I read this, now I know उस पे बहुत सारा काम थोपा जा रहा है. So the word inundate is actually overload. And regular meaning of inundate also means to fill something beyond capacity. Capacity से ज़्यादा आप किसी चीज़ को डालते हो, that is overloading it, right? So here, obviously, the regular meaning of the word inundate was the same context in which it was used in the passage as well. But sometimes you will not be so lucky. They might decide to use a word in the passage in a way which is different from its regular meanings. So you must always read what it is and then answer the question. Did everybody get this one? Yes? Okay. So I already discussed this strategy once before, but let's repeat it before we take the examples. So my strategy whenever I'm solving questions of reading comprehension is first I read the questions. I don't read the answer options, but at least question पे एक नजर घुमा देता हूँ. So I know what am I looking for. Am I expected to find out specific details from the passage? Do I need to find out the tone of the author? Do I need to find out the summary of the passage? Right? Questions पे नजर मार के वो पता चल जाता है. After I read the questions quickly, I go through the passage. Then I come back to the questions. I go through the options and I make sure I read all the answer choices. I will never mark a answer in reading comprehension without reading all the options because I'll make sure that I can eliminate the wrong ones and then mark the right one. Right? For the online example here, because we are restricted, I'm just going to show you the passage first and then we will be taking the questions individually. But when you're doing the practice exercises, when you're doing the practice examples or even the tests, I would generally expect you to read the questions first so that you get a sense of what you have to answer from the passage. So I put up the passage on the screen, multiple questions based on this. We will take them one by one. Guys, what I'm also going to do right now is I'm going to send you a PDF of all these passages. Right? Just wait for a moment. I'm going to send you the PDF of these passages so that in case you're not comfortable reading them on the screen, you can read them on your phone or other device. So just a minute. Okay, technology. Yes, guys, I think you should have received the document on WhatsApp now. It's the same passages which I'm displaying on the screen, just for your reference. Okay, so if you have read the passage, can anybody tell me what do you think the passage is about? What do you think the passage is about? Okay, man, that's very vague. What type of situation? You can guess more specific than that. Hriday, same. You can be more specific. There are very specific things mentioned which will tell you exactly what type of situation they are in. What type of conditions are they in? What type of environment are they in? What exactly is happening? You will be able to identify. There are some words which tell you what it is. No Sakshi. Although what you have said is it's related, but you are getting it slightly wrong. Look at it. Hriday, same. Look at it. There is one very specific word. In fact, two or three specific words which tell you exactly what type of environment it is in. I feel the wall of the tunnel shiver. The master alarm squealed through my earphones. That means they're inside some sort of environment, they're inside some sort of construction. Almost simultaneously, Jack yelled to me that there was a warning light on. Fleeting but spectacular sights snapped in and out of view. The snow, the shower of debris, the moon looming close and big. The dazzling sunshine for one unfiltered by layers of air. Where do you get sunshine and no layers of air in between? There is no layer of air. The last 12 hours before re-entry were particularly bone-chilling. Re-entry. Where do you re-enter from? During this period, I had to go up to the command module. Even after the fiery re-entry splashing down in 81-degree water in South Pacific, we could still see our frosty breath inside the command module. So they are in the South Pacific, which is basically an ocean, a sea, right? It says even after the fiery means fiery means on fire. Fiery re-entry into the ocean. आग लगी है और आप ocean के अंदर splash कर रहे हो. What exactly is happening? Could it be a submarine? Submarine में बाहर आग कैसे लग सकती है? And how does a submarine splash into water? Submarine पे बाहर आग हो and वो पानी में splash करे, ऐसा तो नहीं हो सकता. Think guys, they are inside a closed vehicle maybe. Command module tells me that they are inside some sort of closed vehicle. And it is on fire. And जलता हुआ वो समुंदर में गिरा है. What exactly could it be? And it talks about 12 hours before re-entry. Yes. So most probably it is description of some sort of rocket or space shuttle which has come back from space to Earth and which has crash landed in the ocean. Mostly it is something like that, right? I hope everybody got it. Why? What gives me the hint that they're talking about space, rocket, because a command module is generally in a rocket or a space shuttle. And they're talking about it being on fire and then splashing into the water. So more often than not, it should be description of entering from space into Earth. The passage itself I've given on top. The word command module, and it is used twice in the passage. What does it mean? Right? What are they talking about? What exactly? And I think ये answer तो pretty obvious होना चाहिए. 2 times the word command module has been used. So what should it be? Right? So alarming, it's not about journey. In fact, they have already crash landed. So it's not about the journey. And they are not in a commanding situation. In fact, they are in a very poor situation because they are talking about just what it is. They are not talking about they are in control. Nowhere it tells me they are in control. So it's not a commanding situation. And युद्ध की तो कोई बात ही नहीं. It's not as if there was a fight going on. So the word command module in both the instances leads us to believe that this entire passage is about a journey into outer space. Are we together on this? Does everybody accept this? This could be a journey into outer space. Excellent. Second, same. Which one of the following reasons would one consider as more as possible for the warning lights to be on? Second line of the passage says that Jack yelled down to me that there was a warning light on. Why was the warning light on? What could be the reason that there was a warning light? Majority are getting it right. So guys, यहाँ पे थोड़ा लॉजिक यूज करते हैं. वार्निंग का मतलब क्या होता है? वार्निंग इज समथिंग इज गोइंग टू हैपन एंड आपको पहले से वो लोग चेतावनी दे रहे हैं कि संभल जाओ संभल जाओ. A warning is not about an incident which has already taken place. And warning is about something which is about to happen. Right? So the shower of debris is simultaneously taking place. Already event चल रहा है, उसका तो warning नहीं होगा. And Jack चिल्ला रहा है क्योंकि light है. So the light is not on because Jack is yelling. In fact, Jack is yelling because there is a warning light. Right? And the moon is just passing by. It is not that the moon is looming close and big. It's the same as debris. Shower of debris and the moon looming close and big दोनों सेम सेंटेंस के अंदर यूज किए गए हैं. तो अगर मेरा आंसर ए हो सकता है तो मेरा आंसर डी भी तो हो सकता है, बिकॉज ए एंड डी आर यूज्ड इन द एग्जैक्ट सेम सेंस. बट आई कैन नॉट मार्क टू ऑप्शंस, सो ए एंड डी दोनों एलिमिनेट हो जाते हैं. गाइज, आई होप यू अंडरस्टैंड. बोथ शावर ऑफ डिब्रीज एंड मून लूमिंग क्लोज एंड बिग आर मेंशन्ड इन द एग्जैक्ट सेम सेंस. सो या तो दोनों आंसर हो सकते हैं या दोनों ही आंसर नहीं है. अब दो आंसर एक साथ तो सही नहीं मार्क कर सकते. सो दैट मीन्स ए एंड डी बोथ आर एलिमिनेटेड एंड बी हमने क्लियरली देख लिया. सो ऑब्वियसली माई आंसर इज दैट अ कैटास्ट्रोफे वॉज इमिनेंट. एंड हियर वोकैबुलरी प्लेज अ बिग रोल. इमिनेंट का मतलब है समथिंग विच इज अबाउट टू हैपन. ऑब्वियसली वार्निंग इज गिवन फॉर समथिंग दैट इज इमिनेंट. सो द बेस्ट ऑप्शन दैट मेक्स सेंस इज why was the warning light on? Because a catastrophe was about to take place. A catastrophe was imminent. हम साथ साथ हैं? Are we together, guys? Does this make sense? ठीक है, चलो. The statement that the dazzling sunshine was for once unfiltered by layers of air means what? The dazzling sunshine was once unfiltered by layers of air. Okay, so unfiltered for air, unfiltered by layers of air का मतलब क्या है? स्पेस के अंदर तो एयर होता ही नहीं है, राइट? सो व्हेन यू गो इन स्पेस you directly see the sun. There is no atmosphere, there is no air in between, right? When you're on earth, when you look at the sun, there's a lot of air in between, so your view is different. But when you go to space, and we have by now identified that the entire passage is about space, so unfiltered by air, it does not tell me anything about heat, so A is eliminated. Forget strong wind, there is absolutely no wind, so it is not a question of wind, right? And it is not a question of pollution, right? They are simply saying air, right? Even unpolluted air is still air, so it's not about pollution at all. So technically none of these options is actually the meaning. They're simply saying that unfiltered by layer of air means there is no air, which literally means that they are in space, because space is that one region where there is no air. So when they say unfiltered layers of air, all they want to indicate is that there is no air, there is no atmosphere, which means they are in space. Did you get this one, guys? I hope you understood. Yes. A strong wind can be used as a fancy version of having an atmosphere. Right. So there was no strong wind. But okay, understand this. If I tell you that he was not a strong man, right? X was not a strong man. उससे आपको क्या पता चलेगा? You will say he's not strong, but इतना तो आप derive करोगे ना कि X was a man. If I say X is not a strong man, you will still infer that X is a man. Strong नहीं है, but man तो है. उतना inference करोगे कि नहीं करोगे, राघव? If I say X is not a strong man, so when I say there is no strong wind, it is still possible to say that there is a wind. There is wind. Strong नहीं है, लेकिन wind तो है. It could mean that, but they are in space. Space has no wind, strong or otherwise. So saying that there was no strong wind, see that word strong, like I said, some of the याद है options में sometimes they will give you जरूरत से ज़्यादा information. Initially हमने देखा था sometimes the answer is too broad, sometimes the answer is too narrow. This is a classic example. There was no strong wind. The moment somebody says, if I say कि उत्तरायण के दिन तेज हवा नहीं थी, तो the first thing which you derive is that हवा तो थी, तेज नहीं थी. So when you say that there was no strong wind, that means there is wind. Did you get that? What I'm trying to say? ठीक है? चलो, let's move ahead. Read the passage and then we'll discuss the questions. It's also there in the thing. हेलो कौन कौन काम છે યસ કયો નંબર જોઈએ રોંગ નંબર રોંગ નંબર રોંગ નંબર ખોટું નંબર આપ્યું છે વોટર આઈડીમાં કોઈ કામ નથી અહીંયા કોચિંગ ક્લાસીસ ચલાવું છું ભાઈ કોચિંગ કરાવવું છે કોઈ કામનું નહીં યસ ગાઈસ Raghav, okay. Raghav says that if we consider strong simply as an adjective which can be omitted and we are left with there was no wind. Yes, if, see, in the previous question, if the thing is that there was no wind, again, what is wind? Wind is moving air. There was no wind. Even if there is air, we can say there is no wind. Pavan nahi tha, right? Because wind is technically moving air. So on earth also we can have a place where there is no wind, but still there is air. So even if I remove the word strong, it still does not tell me anything specific. So even eliminating the word strong really does not help me. Did you get that? You can have no wind. વાસી ઉત્તરાયણના દિવસે તો હવા જ નથી, પવન જ નથી. Right? Common complaint, ઉત્તરાયણ के दिन हवा ही नहीं है. That does not mean atmosphere नहीं है. There is no movement of air, but air is there. So the word strong wind or the word wind, neither of them tell you that it is space. Did you get that, Raghav? So ऐसे थोड़ा टेढ़ा सोचना पड़ेगा अपने को. Try to interpret the words like that. कि इस बात को हम कैसे इंटरप्रेट कर सकते हैं. थोड़ा ऐसे ट्विस्टेड सोचना चालू करोगे, you will identify how these exam setters purposely give you wrong options. Right? दिमाग को थोड़ा टेढ़ा चलाना चालू करते हैं. Guys, I think there is another slide here which is continuation of the passage. So if you're done with this, I'll have to move ahead. You can also read it from the PDF which I've sent in case you're done with the first part, because there's a second part to this. It's a long passage. That's all the passages. Very interesting passage. Very, if you understood it, then it's a very, very interesting passage. Any doubts in this passage? Any word, any concept that you did not understand? Second line. Okay. Line by line, let's go. The enjoyment of physical possession of things would seem to be one of the prerogatives of wealth which has been little impaired. Prerogatives means something which you get to enjoy. So it says that rich people can own physical things. So enjoying anything which they own, that is something which the wealthy have always done, and it has not reduced. It is still strong. Presumably, nothing has happened to keep the man who can afford them from enjoying his Rembrandt and his homegrown orchids. Now, what is Rembrandt? Rembrandt was a painter. And like Michelangelo, Leonardo da Vinci, Rembrandt was a famous painter. And his paintings now sell for like millions of dollars. His paintings are extremely expensive. Similarly, orchids are very expensive flowers. So second line says that if a person is rich, then and if he can afford it, then he can enjoy material things, very expensive things like expensive paintings by the painter Rembrandt or expensive flowers like orchids. That's what the second line means. Did you get that, Varnika? It simply is giving you an example that a rich man can enjoy physical things like expensive paintings and expensive flowers. But enjoyment of things has always been associated with the third prerogative of wealth, which is the distinct it confers. So it says that if you are rich, not only do you get to enjoy material things, but it also gives you a distinct, which the word distinct here means status. They're talking that wealth also gives you status. In a world where nearly everyone was poor, the distinction was very great. And it was the natural consequence of rarity. Natural consequence of rarity का मतलब क्या हुआ? Because something is rare, it is considered expensive, right? Today, why do you think gold is more expensive than, let us say, steel? Because gold is less available and steel is more, right? Gold क्योंकि rare है तो expensive है. Steel is easily available from iron, so it is less expensive. So similarly, rich people, why do they become distinct? Why do they get so much of status? Because not everybody is rich. So in England, it is widely agreed the ducal families are not uniformly superior. Now, what is meant by a ducal family? Ducal. Now, in England, they have this system of royalty where people have titles like Dutch and Duchess, Duke and Duchess, right? Like King and Queen, Emperor, Empress. वैसे they have different Count, Countess, Viscount, Viscountess, Earl, Duke. These are titles given to the people, royal titles. So ducal families are simply families which have that title. So it is said that जो सारे Dutch and Dukes and Duchesses के families हैं, not all of them are uniformly superior. There's a roughly normal, उसमें भी कुछ लोग इंटेलिजेंट हैं तो कुछ स्टूपिड भी होते हैं, कुछ लोगों के गुड टेस्ट हैं तो कुछ लोगों के बैड टेस्ट भी होते हैं, कुछ लोग मॉरल हैं, कुछ लोग इमोरल भी हैं. But very few people are dukes and duchesses, although the latter have rather more frequent with modern easing of divorce laws. Now this is a very very interesting line. बोलते हैं ड्यूक्स एंड डचेसेस तो ऐसे भी कम हैं, लेकिन ड्यूक्स से ज्यादा भी डचेसेस होने लगे हैं. जितने ड्यूक्स थे उससे ज्यादा डचेस बनने लगे हैं. क्यों? बिकॉज ऑफ डिवोर्स लॉ. नाउ व्हाट हैज डिवोर्स लॉ टू डू? चलो, इफ अ ड्यूक मैरीज अ डचेस एंड देन डिवोर्सेस, द डचेस, if she marries somebody, the other person does not become a duke. But when the duke remarries, his new wife becomes a duchess. So, divorce के बाद duke remains duke, so he can make more wives as duchesses. So, because of this divorce law, more and more duchesses are being created. Did everybody understand this? So as a result, even though they may be intrinsically unexceptional, they are regarded with some awe. So as such उनके नेचर में या उनके कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स में ऐसा कुछ नहीं है कि बहुत महान हो, लेकिन फिर भी क्योंकि उनके हाथ में ऐसा टाइटल है तो लोग उनको हॉ की नजर से देखते हैं. So it has long have been with the rich. Were dukes numerous, their position would deteriorate. बहुत सारे ड्यूक्स हैं तो कोई ड्यूक को स्टेटस सिंबल से नहीं देखेगा. हर कोई अगर ड्यूक है तो बोलेगा है इसमें कौन सी बात है, कोई भी ड्यूक बन सकता है, राइट? So as the rich have become more numerous, they inevitably become a debased currency. Debased currency means a currency which has no value. तो जैसे जैसे ज्यादा लोग अमीर होते गए वैसे वैसे अमीर होना कोई बड़ी बात नहीं रही. पहले बोलते थे अरे ये तो लखपति है, उसका बहुत स्टेटस है, लेकिन आजकल लाख रुपए का कोई वैल्यू नहीं है, हर कोई लखपति होता है. तो आजकल हम लखपति को कोई बड़ा आदमी नहीं मानते. करोड़पति हो तो उसको हम स्टेटस सिंबल मानते हैं, लखपति को आजकल हम स्टेटस सिंबल नहीं मानते. क्यों? बिकॉज हर कोई लखपति है. सो इट सेज द मोर रेयर समथिंग इज द मोर स्टेटस वैल्यू इट हैज. दैट्स बेसिकली व्हाट द पैसेज सेज. Did everybody understand this? Did everybody understand the basic idea of the passage? Chalo. Now, क्योंकि I'm explaining the passage in detail, so it's taking time. But you guys with enough practice should be able to do it in 2 minutes flat, and 5 minutes में तो you should be done with the passage and all the questions. ठीक है? So let's take a look at the questions then. The distinction conferred by wealth. अब तो बहुत ही आसान है इसको आंसर करना. Even if you have understood the explanation which I gave, this passage will be straightforward and simple. Absolutely. The entire passage says, okay, why does having wealth give you status? Because it is rare. Khatam. So the distinction is great when there are few rich people. There is nothing about unfairness to poor or how much it will spread. The entire passage is about when something is rare, it has high value. When something is not rare, it has low value. So the distinction conferred by wealth was very great when there were few rich people. Simple. I think everybody will agree with me. Very easy question this was. Did we get this? Yes, excellent. Next one. The enjoyment of physical possession of things. Now, थोड़े hi-fi type words use किए गए हैं, but if your vocabulary is decent enough, you will be easily able to identify, but you should know the meaning of the words. And this is why vocabulary is very important. Guys, I hope you realize that. Without understanding the meaning of the words, we simply cannot answer them. Right? Curtailed means to stop. किसी पे रोक लगाना is to curtail something. Now guys, literally the first line of the passage gives you the answer. The enjoyment of physical possession of things would seem to be one of the prerogatives of wealth, which has been little impaired. Little impaired means it has hardly been affected. When something is hardly affected, it means it has not changed. So, obviously, option A, Varnika, now did you get that? There is no question of a dispute. The very first line says that the enjoyment of physical possession of things has been little impaired, which means it has not been affected. And that's literally what the first option is. So you can quickly eliminate the others, and the first line itself tells you what the answer is. It's a simple matter of understanding what little impaired actually means. Little impaired literally means not being changed. Now did you get it? And a lot of others who have not answered my question, I hope now you understood. A has to be the right answer. Chalo. Ducal families in England. Man, hate. Very careful. Rishikesh, Sakshi, रेडमी, भाई रेडमी नाम किसका? मैंने तो ब्रांड नेम सुना था रेडमी, बच्चों का नाम रेडमी कब से होने लगा? आई गेस यू नीड टू रीचेंज माय डियर। रेडमी एंड आईफोन किसी का नाम नहीं होता। ओके, सो सी ड्यूकल वर्ड पहले ढूंढो, राइट? ड्यूकल वर्ड में कहां पे है? इट सेज it is widely agreed ducal families are not uniformly superior, right? So the very line which mentions ducal families, it says that they are not uniform superior, which means generally उनका कोई trend नहीं है, ये भी है वो भी है. So we cannot say they are agreed to be fairly common or fairly superior, because literally it points out that they are different, right? Not everybody is the same. So they are generally this, generally that, because they are rich. None of these options are actually correct. That line clearly indicates that not everybody is the same. There is a lot of variation, right? Remember guys, उसके बाद immediate line क्या है? इंटेलिजेंस भी है, स्टुपिडिटी भी है, गुड टेस्ट भी है, बैड टेस्ट भी है, मोरालिटी भी है, इमोरालिटी भी है. ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर देयर. सो ड्यूकल फैमिलीज इन इंग्लैंड आर जनरली अग्रीड नॉट टू बी ऑलवेज बेटर देन अदर्स. हमेशा दूसरों से अच्छे हों ये जरूरी नहीं है, हो भी सकते हैं, नहीं भी हो सकते. बिकॉज दैट इज लिटरली वॉट द लाइन फॉलोइंग ड्यूकल फैमिलीज वाला लाइन सेज, कि उनमें सारे किस्म के लोग हैं. सो दे आर नॉट जनरली कॉमन, दे आर नॉट जनरली सुपीरियर, दे आर नॉट जनरली रिच, दे आर ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप्स. You cannot say that they are of one particular type. So D has to be my specific answer. Do we agree with that, guys? D definitely has to be my specific answer. ठीक है? चलो. मन सी ए क्या बोलता है? Ducal families in England are generally agreed to be fairly common. But where do we get that they are fairly common? Because last second line देखो, where dukes numerous their position would deteriorate. अगर dukes बहुत सारे होते तो उनका पोजीशन कम हो जाता, राइट? उसके ऊपर का लाइन देखो, एज अ रिजल्ट इवन दो दे में बी इंट्रिंसिकली अनएक्सेप्शनल, दे आर रिगार्डेड विद सम ऑफ. उसका मतलब क्या है कि ड्यूक्स को अभी भी लोग हाई स्टेटस का मानते हैं, लेकिन अगर बहुत सारे ड्यूक्स होते तो उनका स्टेटस कम हो जाता. उसका मतलब क्या है? अगर ज्यादा ड्यूक्स होते तो स्टेटस कम होता, लेकिन लोग अभी भी उनको स्टेटस वाला मानते हैं. दैट मीन्स दैट दे आर नॉट कॉमन, दे आर स्टिल रेयर. सो ए कैन नॉट बी माई आंसर. मन, डिड यू गेट दैट? हाँ, लास्ट सेकंड लाइन क्या है? सी अगेन, वर ड्यूक्स न्यूमरस देयर पोजीशन वुड. अगर ड्यूक्स बहुत सारे होते तो पोजीशन डिटीरियोरेट करता. सो दैट डज नॉट मीन कि एक्चुअली हो रहा है, वो सिर्फ एक हाइपोथेटिकल सिचुएशन बता रहा है. आई होप यू अंडरस्टूड दैट, राइट? यू हैव टू टेक द लाइन अलॉन्ग विद द प्रीवियस वन. सो यू रीडिंग बोथ द लाइन्स टुगेदर क्लियरली टेल्स यू दैट नो, दे आर नॉट कॉमन. चलो, वेरी गुड. नेक्स्ट वन. There are more duchesses now because ये तो ऑप्शन के बिना भी आंसर कर सकते हैं. जितने ड्यूक्स हैं उससे ज्यादा डचेसेस क्यों हैं? ऋषिकेश, नो बेटा, दीज क्वेश्चंस यहां पे कंफ्यूजन लगेगा, पहले थोड़ा थोड़ा लगेगा, बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम एज यू प्रैक्टिस यू विल रियलाइज दैट दीज आर एक्चुअली वेरी सिंपल क्वेश्चंस. बस थोड़े प्रैक्टिस की जरूरत है, और वो तो हम डेफिनेटली करने वाले हैं. आई होप एवरीबडी इज गोइंग टू प्रैक्टिस सच क्वेश्चंस, राइट? ये तो पहली बार कर रहे हैं इसलिए लग रहा है. Don't worry. As we go through practice, it becomes very easy. Like this वाला क्वेश्चन केस, मैंने जब पैसेज एक्सप्लेन किया था आपको बताया था कि ड्यूक्स एंड डचेसेस में ज्यादा डचेसेस क्यों होती हैं, और इनफैक्ट वो लाइन को पढ़ोगे समझ में ना आए तो भी आंसर मिल जाएगा. But very few people are dukes and duchesses, although the latter have become rather more frequent with modern easing of divorce laws. Simple. Dukes and duchess में दोनों डिवोर्स कर लेते हैं. डचेस शादी करती है तो उसका हस्बैंड जो नया है वो ड्यूक नहीं बनता, तो अभी तो कोई ड्यूक इंक्रीज नहीं हुआ. लेकिन ड्यूक दोबारा शादी करेगा तो उसकी बीबी तो डचेस बन जाएगी, तो डचेस एक की जगह दो हो गए. तो डिवोर्स की वजह से नंबर ऑफ डचेस ज्यादा इंक्रीज हो रही हैं. इजी, ऑप्शन ए. गॉट दैट? ये सिस्टम समझ में आया? हस्बैंड की वजह से टाइटल होता है, तो डिवोर्स के बाद मेल्स उतने ही रहेंगे विद द टाइटल ऑफ ड्यूक, but females with the title duchess will be more. So there will be more duchesses than there will be duke ever. Did everybody get this one? Okay, chalo. Next one. Among the ducal families, this I've explained in the passage, and we have referred to it one of the previous questions as well. Should be easy, this one. Mana, you have fallen for the trap of very narrow. आप बहुत नैरो ऑप्शन के साथ जा रहे हो, बहुत. दैट इज अ ट्रिक. Purposely the question setter has made that option so that you fall into the trick. So guys, ducal families के बारे में the sentence says there is roughly normal incidence of intelligence and stupidity, good taste and bad taste, morality and immorality. Basically what it meant was, अगर अच्छी गुण हैं तो बुरे गुण भी उतने ही हैं. ऐसा नहीं है कि सारे अच्छे हैं सारे बुरे हैं. They have equal number of good and bad characteristics. So obviously you cannot say there is a great deal of immortality. And first of all, it is not even immortality. You have to pay close attention. It is immorality that they have mentioned in the passage, right? जानबूझ के they have given a wrong spelling वाला word here. Immortality का मतलब है the person who cannot die. अमरता. जो अमर है वो immortal है. But passage does not say they are immortal. Passage says they are immoral, right? So immortal से A option निकल गया. There's a great deal of bad taste नहीं बोल सकते because the passage says good taste भी है bad taste भी है. Now many of you are tempted to mark D as the answer, okay? Either great intelligence or great stupidity, because the passage does say intelligence and stupidity, but intelligence and stupidity is not what they are describing. They are saying all different types of qualities are there equally. They are not using to describe their intelligence. They're using intelligence and stupidity only to describe that all different types of good and bad qualities are there equally in the dukes and duchess. So between B and D, which is a better option? D is a very narrow option. The word intelligence and stupidity is not just for intelligence. It is just given as an example to actually show that there is equal number of good and bad characteristics. So the best possible option definitely has to be B. Guys, that is a trap. याद है स्टार्टिंग में मैंने कहा था बहुत broad, बहुत narrow. So this is a classic example of a bad option because it is narrow. Right? The better option is option B because it includes all the different characteristics which have been described in the passage. So the best possible answer definitely has to be B. Are we together on this? Did everybody understand it? Yes? Chalo guys. So I think you have a basic understanding of what it is, right? Homework for the day. You must have had the book of reading comprehension. I know the passage, there's one more passage, but we are out of time. So you have the reading comprehension book, right? I want you to do the reading comprehension exercise. I think it's on page 22 or something. Index में मिल जाएगा. Practice exercise reading comprehension का एक है. I think it is reading comprehension practice exercise 2 से चालू होता है. So whichever is the first reading comprehension practice exercise, I think around page 22 के आसपास होगा book में, देख लेना. I want you guys to go and attempt those questions, right? That will be the homework for the day. Tomorrow we'll be meeting again at the same time. Chandan sir will be taking your session. I'll be sending the Zoom ID and password just a few minutes before the class begins. So till then, if there are no more questions, if you are done, then you may exit the session, stay home and stay safe. In case you want to ask me something, any doubts, then you can ask me right now. For others, we are done. If there are no more doubts and you wish to exit, then you may exit the session. Good night. Stay home. Stay safe. Varnika, how many passages? Okay, how many passages in what, Varnika? In exam? Are you asking me how many passages are there in the exam? Okay. So Varnika, it depends on which exam you are giving. Which exam are you talking about? Which exam are you appearing for? Okay. See, now there are many different types of papers and there is no standard format. कि इस paper में इतने ही questions होंगे. For example, in some papers, I know of the same paper, in 1 year they asked a small passage with only 5 questions in the entire section of English. And in the other year, in the same paper, they asked 7 passages with a total of 40 questions. The entire section was only reading comprehension. But mass communication mein normally it is generally about 2 passages with 5 questions each. So on an average, you can have either one long passage with 10 questions or 2 chota passages with 5 questions each. So on an average, you can expect 1 or 2 passages with about 10 questions in toto. But again, it depends from paper to paper and there is no fixed format. They may change. So you have to be prepared for it. I hope that answers your question. Okay. Anything else, guys? Which marks are considered to get admitted in college, boards or entrance? Okay, Rishikesh. See, entrance examination marks are the ones which are considered by most colleges, right? Obviously, entrance exam के लिए ही इसीलिए तो prepare कर रहे हैं, entrance exam भी conduct करते हैं. However, that does not mean board exams are not important. I'll tell you why they are important. See, what they will do is most colleges, they will first consider your entrance exam marks. If you get the seat and there is no tie, then तो directly entrance exam marks के basis पे ही आपको admission मिल जाएगा. But some institutions, for a seat, if there are more than one candidate having the same marks in entrance exam, and if there is only one seat left, then to break the ties, different institutions have different rules. And some institutions may consider your 10th, 12th marks for admission. In fact, for most of the management courses, it could be BBA or integrated MBA courses, they take into consideration your 10th and 12th marks and your entrance exam score and then form a composite score before calling you for the interview. So priority is obviously given to entrance exam marks, but your boards are equally important. So you have to give equal importance to both of them. Yes? Did you get that, Rishikesh? So you have to focus on both. Okay, Raghav. Zenith. Okay, Raghav, Zenith. I'll go back to that passage, but without referring to the passage, the word Zenith and Nadir. Zenith means the topmost point and Nadir is the bottommost point. Zenith generally refers to the topmost point. Nadir generally refers to the bottommost point. कौन से इसमें Zenith था? This one? Was it this passage? Yes. In the zenith glittered the wondrous southern cross, the polar bear of Antarctic regions. So zenith means the topmost region, or it could be like the horizon, but zenith usually means the topmost part. Yes? Did you get that? Okay. Excellent. So Raghav, what you should be doing is, whenever you are doing a passage, reading comprehension practice, do the passage, practice all the examples. But after you are done solving it, go back to the passage, find out the words which you did not understand, sit with a dictionary, either a physical or an online, and learn these words. Many a times, the way it is used in the passage will tell you the meaning. But even if not, don't just think that solving the questions is enough, right? It's not just about just solving and getting a mark, but it's about learning something. So even after completing a passage and getting the questions right, you must always go back and find out all the words, not only in the passage, but also in the questions and the answer options, and learn all the meanings. And that is the method which will help you improve your vocabulary. Yes, zenith is the extreme point. Zenith is the top, like the zenith. Bill Gates is at the zenith of his industry. Elon Musk is at the zenith of the industry, at the topmost point. So yes, it's a positive superlative. But zenith also refers to physically zenith literally means the top portion of the sky. So when describing something, it is used to explain something extreme. But literally, zenith literally means the sky, because we consider sky to be the highest point. So that's why zenith is actually used as a positive superlative, because the literal meaning is sky, and sky is considered to be the topmost point. Thanks, Rishikesh, for that. I hope you enjoy all the sessions in the future the same as you did today, and you do your best to score the maximum in both boards and entrances. Okay. Chalo, guys, I think I'll end the session now. Wish you all the best. Have a good day. We'll meet tomorrow. You'll be having a session with Chandan sir. The day after, you guys will be again meeting me.